And everyone, thank you for taking some time this afternoon to be with us. My name is Randy Carroll here with Chime Technologies. On the call, on the Zoom, we have Nick Walder. He is a team leader of the Walder Winners team, as you may have heard of, as they were recently recognized as being one of the 1,000. And we're going to talk to him today about how to supercharge your referral network. Ultimately, he was able to grow a great big business because he was able to squeeze the most juice out of the lemon that is his sphere of influence. So I'll let Nick give a quick intro of himself as well, and we'll get started.
All right. Thank you, my man. Nick Walder. I'm out of Maryland. So if you have anybody looking to buy or sell in Maryland, I'm your referral guy. Please make sure you send them that way. I say that partly because I really do want your referrals. And the other part is I want you guys to know that I'm not a professional speaker. I'm not out here doing this every day. I sell real estate. That's what I do every day. We've built a very good program, and that's what Randy had called me and said, hey, do you want to jump on and answer a few questions about that? And I'm always willing to share anything. So I said I would love to. When you see that 40 to 400 and you think, wow, that's huge success, just know this. I've been in the business for 18 years. The first 12 years, I struggled. I did 30 deals, 35 deals, 40 deals, 38 deals, 36 deals. There was always a struggle in there for 12 years. And only in the last 5 or 6 have you seen that amazing growth. And it's because when I started, I wasn't focused on my database. I wasn't focused on my sphere of influence. I wasn't doing any of the things that I'm doing now that has catapulted our business.
Awesome. And we're going to go into details in regards to what that exactly was. So before we do that, let's get a little bit more about your background, right? Everyone has a sphere of influence, whether they are in or not in the real estate space, right? So what did you do before real estate, and how did you end up getting in the business?
Okay, good question. So right out of college, so I had a job in college where I was basically a salesman that would run up and down the beaches of Ocean City, Maryland. And I would go up to families and people and ask, hey, can I take your picture? And then they would come back in, and in this little telescope, you would look into it and you'd see the picture in there, and I'd sell those for like $5. Sounds crazy. So my first year, I had a really good summer. I won Rookie of the Year, and things were going really well. I was a freshman in college, and I made $14,000 in that 3-month period. My second summer, third summer, fourth summer, I made more and more money every single summer, and to the point where I was running the company and we were selling about 1.2 million of $5 keychains. So grew to be a pretty massive business. At that time, I was just had graduated college. I did some fun stuff. I went to Fiji and Australia and New Zealand and all that stuff. But when I came back, we realized, okay, that's a great summertime business, but I need a real job as well. We got into ice cream. So Cold Stone Creamery, if you remember when Cold Stone was in its heyday, that's when I was an owner. We bought a territory with some other partners and grew that for about 2 years. And then I just transferred right from there. I was doing the commercial side of that real estate. You know, if you wanted to open up a Cold Stone, I was helping you find your location. And then I realized that I just wanted to transition that into residential, and I jumped right into residential.
Very cool. I see ice cream as a theme with you. We'll get back to ice cream when we talk about your client events.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's kind of start at the very beginning, maybe speak to some newer agents or agents who haven't exactly been aggressive with their sphere of influence. And I want to start with the fact that I think many people struggle and have been coined the secret agent, meaning, have you heard that term? No one knows they're a real estate agent because hence they're a secret agent. Meaning most folks are reluctant to share the fact that they actually are real estate agents. So I want to ask you, is that something that you struggled with, or what is your advice for people who are nervous to talk about the fact they're a real estate agent?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So in the beginning, you're nervous to go up to and help somebody in real estate because you're nervous of your own skills. the more confidence you get, the more skills that you obtain, it becomes almost like a disservice. If Randy's in my area and looking to buy a house, I would not want him working with any other agent than myself, because I know I have the confidence and skills to get him what he wants at the right price. So one, you're going to develop that confidence as you go. If you're focused on your training, you're focused on scripts, you're practicing every day. You know, somebody made the comment yesterday in another webinar that I was on, that some people look at their business as their lifestyle. If I make this much money, I can buy this car. If I make this much money, I can buy this house. And it's always this lifestyle that they're chasing. And then there's other people, and I'm in the secondary category, where sport is like my athleticism. Like, this is, okay, I'm all done with high school and college sports. I can't do that anymore. I'm getting too old. So now business is my sport. So what do I do to practice every day? How do I check to see if I got better this year than last year? And I'm constantly looking to beat my personal best. And I'm not really worried about where that falls in the money category, because as long as I'm getting better and better and better every single year, my money will go up as well. So you don't have to consider that. So make yourself use business as your sport and get better at your sport.
I like that. And I would say some people hear that and may immediately associate skill with transaction volume. So if you're brand new or you have little transaction volume, other than the actual experience of a transaction, how would you recommend someone go about improving their skill?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I want to be sure to say transaction number does not equate to skill. I can't tell you how many agents I've talked to that said, well, Nick, I've been in the business for 23 years, and they had no idea what they were talking about. So don't ever assume that just because someone's been in the business for a while that they know more than you do. If you're focused and you're working on your craft every day, take the COVID-19 situation that happened in Maryland. Everything shut down. We were on complete lockdown. And I immediately, moved our team from, the real world to the virtual world. And we started doing Zooms every single day, 3 times a day, 8:30, 12, 4:30, all the time. And our 8:30 Zooms were very easy. We had COVID conversations every single day. Here's an objection you're going to get. What do you say? Here's an objection. What do you say? Here's an objection. What do you say? And we did that every day. And in about 2 weeks' time, every single time we got the objections, and there's probably about 6 of them in total, that you would get from anybody worried about the COVID-19 or buying or selling or what this market's going to do and what's going to happen next. All those worries that every single person had, every agent on my team could rattle it off the top of their head with no problem at all and ease. And we ended up having a very successful transition as far as helping people, even in a lockdown, even not leaving our house. We sold more business in April of 2020 than we did last year. We sold more business in May 2020. We haven't even finished the month yet. We're going to beat May 2019 this year. And our June, we're about 4 properties short, and we've got 10 days left. I mean, that'll easily, we'll surpass that, and our June will be bigger. So our January, February, March, yeah, those were bigger, but that was pre-COVID. It's your April, it's your May, and it's your June that are showing if what you've done in your training and your work has translated into your experience to get buyers and sellers to continue to move forward in the process.
So let me take an opportunity to point something out here. Nick was every bit as busy this year as he was last year, but still prioritize time to train and improve your skill and to get better. I think Abraham Lincoln has a quote about, when you're cutting down trees, you should spend the most of your time sharpening your axe. And that's exactly what Nick did. So I don't believe that anyone on this webinar today can use the excuse, I didn't have time, right? So I definitely think that should be pointed out. And for the individuals on this call who don't have a team, who don't have a team leader, there are other individual agents in your brokerage who are in the same place you are. Talk to them about training together. You don't need to go into business together, but train together, right? So there's an opportunity for everyone, a part of the team or not. to improve during this time. So I guess going down the path of where we began, how did you begin communicating to your sphere of influence that you became an agent? In your case, it sounds like you went from commercial to residential. What was that transition like?
Yeah, so going from commercial to residential, and I was working commercial in Maryland, Virginia, Delaware, DC, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, there wasn't a big transition. It wasn't like I moved over and all my clients came with me. It was like I left this completely and started this brand new. So I realized very quickly that I was going to need to find people that needed to buy or sell houses. So I joined every sports group, every social league. Like I had softball on Monday nights, flag football on Tuesday nights, kickball on Wednesday night. Like no matter what it was, I was in. And I was every single team that I played for. My goal was, all right, how many of these people can I let them know I'm in real estate and show them that I can help them? Because they're all in the 25 or 20, probably 22 to 35 range, which is great for first-time home buyers. So I did that. Every time I went out for happy hours, like all my friends would want to get together for a happy hour, I'm like, I'm in. At first, I had a couple too many drinks, and then the next morning I'd wake up and I couldn't even read my notes or phone number I got somebody looking by. So I realized that pretty quickly, and I slowed that down. But I went to a happy hour thinking I want to, one, walk away with one client, and two, have fun with my friends in that order. So we would meet new people and we'd be talking, and I'd find people that needed help in real estate, and then I would work with them. So here's a little tidbit that most people don't realize, or you do, and it's just so obvious you don't think about it. People work with people they like, period. You want somebody to know you, like you, and trust you. So if you ask the general population, how many people are trustworthy? The average person would tell you of the population, 30% are trustworthy, which means 70% or the majority of people out there are untrustworthy. You take that same individual and you say, of the people that you know, of the people that you are acquainted with, how many people are trustworthy? The answer jumps to 70%. All of a sudden, the majority of people are trustworthy because I know and I like them. So when we're dealing with new clients and we're looking to build our business, you've got to remember, you've got to handle all three of those. They got to know you, they got to like you, and they got to trust you. It's much easier when 1, 2, or even 3 of those are already taken care of. So it's very easy to work with a friend who already knows you, who already likes you, and now you just need to get him to trust you that you know what you're doing in real estate. So I only have one hurdle compared to anybody else out there. I've got 3.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And we've got a question about a team. I want to address it, but I also want to address it in the right order, right? So right now we're kind of talking at the very beginning of the real estate journey for Nick. Got really involved in sports, and if sports aren't your thing, figure out something that you enjoy and that you would enjoy going to, right? Because if it's something you don't enjoy doing, you probably won't keep up with it, or when you're there, you'll be in a bad mood. So there you go.
And I've had people do the same thing with yoga, I had a guy that he loved board games. He went online, he found groups that got together to play board games, and that was his thing. I mean, you name it. If you have a hobby and you enjoy doing it, go there, because people are going to get to know the real you, and they're going to like you.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, everyone needs to live somewhere, right? So your hobby can be completely unrelated to real estate, but what everyone has in common is they need to live somewhere.
Yeah.
So very good.
One more. I had a girl that she loved tattoos. She had, I don't know, 30 or 40 tattoos on her body. She loved it. And she got to know all the tattoo parlors in the area. And she literally, it was like every client she got was from one of the tattoo guys who said, oh, hey, I just put a nice tattoo on so-and-so, and they're looking to buy because we had 2 or 3 hours to talk. So literally that was her thing. She would go into all the shops, talk to all the artists all the time, and then they would refer her business. So it can be anything.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So moving down the line here and talking about some of the emotions or experiences that agents have while they're working within their sphere of influence, I see online and in various real estate forums, and you probably see it as well, agents who get a little peeved or a little upset when they see someone they know actually use another realtor. What is your advice to them, and what should they have been doing more proactively to earn that business?
Yeah, I think winners point in, and the opposite of winners point out. I don't want to use that term, but that's how I feel. I think, if you're pointing out, they should have used me, they should have done this, they should have called me, they, you've already missed the boat. What did you not do that made you an obvious choice? Did you say, hey, Randy, I know you were thinking about new construction. Did you know I can help you in new construction? Did you say, hey, Randy, congratulations on the baby. Are you guys thinking about a larger house? I would be happy to help. We sold a house to the secretary at our office. Now, this is an office with over 500 agents. And when we talked after she bought the house and we posted on Facebook, congratulations, all that stuff, she said more agents came up to her and said, hey, why didn't you use me? And her simple answer was, Nick was the only agent who ever asked me, what's your living situation? What are you thinking about doing? And we talked about it over the course of 2 years, and that's who I decided to buy a home with. Out of all 500 agents, she had better relationships with people. She liked people. She went out drinking with some of them. Like, there was much better relationships, but I was the only one that asked her what her plans were and let her know that I would be happy to help her.
Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is you're not self-serving if you ask somebody about their living situation, because I think that holds people back.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you said it best. Everybody needs a place to live. And we think about, like, if somebody called you today and said, hey, I'm going through a divorce, I've got to be out of the house in the next 2-3 weeks. Do you think you can help me? Of course you're going to help them. Somebody else says, oh my God, we're getting married on Saturday. We both are living with our parents. We're ready to move into our first house together. Can you help us find something right after the wedding? Of course you'll help them. These are all life events that lead to buying or selling real estate. So whether it's, I got a new job and I want a bigger house, I got let go and I need to get rid of this house, I'm relocating for work, family size went up or down, the kids moved out to college, we're going to want a smaller house, I have new kids, I got to get a bigger house. And then there's also death. And unfortunately, that's part of it. And don't make that a weird one, because the bottom line is, yes, you are sorry that their father, their mother, their grandmother, their aunt, whoever passed away. But you also have to realize that person still has an asset that they have to sell. They have $100 or $200 or $300,000 held up in an asset that they can't touch, that they can't use for their, what they decide to do with it until that asset is sold. So yeah, I'm not saying to go in the obituaries and start calling families and be like, hey, saw grandma died. Don't do that, but don't shy away from it either. Hey, Randy, I'm really sorry to hear about, your aunt. Listen, if there's anything I can do, I know one of the hardest things in my business when I talk to families that are gifted real estate is, what do you do with it? How do you empty it out? How do you go through all the belongings? Listen, I want to be a resource for you. I've got some great junk haulers. I've got some great auctioneers. When you have stuff of value, let me help you through the process. So now, am I coming with my agenda? I want to sell that house, or am I coming in a place of value where I can help you get into a better position than you are right now?
Absolutely. That's a big stressor. When you inherit real estate, to buy or sell it and deal with the tax implications, those kind of people want a resource. They want help.
Yes.
So what strategies have you implemented, whether it's online or offline, to stay top of mind with your network?
Yeah, absolutely. So, using a system like Chime, where you are keeping track of every single person that you, whether you come in contact with them at an open house, or they're a past client, or they come in as an internet lead, whatever the source is, it doesn't matter. You've got to have one spot where it all goes. Because right now, like when I first started, it was Post-it notes. Oh, you have a friend? Let me put that one here. Oh, let me put that here. the Post-it notes would be everywhere, and I got zero business out of it because, oh yeah, I haven't looked at that Post-it note in, 18 months, and now they've already bought a house or sold a house. So when you get a system like Chime or something of that sort, you go in and you start putting people, okay, I met Randy in an open house. In our conversation, he said, my lease is up October 30th. I'd like to be in a home sometime around October, November. Perfect. I make the notes and then I set up a plan to get him there. So if I do that backwards, he wants to be in a house in October, which means we need to be under contract by September, which means we probably need to start working on looking by August at the latest, July if we can. Okay, well, great. If we're going to start looking in July and August, we need to get him pre-qualified now. And then I set him on a plan. So I might call him every week for the next 3 or 4 weeks, talking about getting pre-qualified, setting up a search for him, getting stuff ready. Now let's do the opposite. Let's say he said, hey, it's October 2021. I don't need to call him every week when we're over a year away. But I go into the system and I set it up so that I need to call him once a month or maybe every other month for the next 6 to 8 months. And then it's, go from once every 2 months to once a month. And then when it comes to this time next year, now I might have that moved up to every 2 weeks or every week. Without a system that tells you, hey, don't forget to call this person. Hey, reach out to this person. Hey, you haven't touched in with this person for a while. You're missing the boat in real estate. That is like Chime is that part of our business that makes us smarter than we are. I would never remember. I mean, honestly, if you told me you were looking to buy a house in anything more than 90 days, I had a hard time remembering your name. Now, Chime remembers it and it tells me, hey, dummy, call this person, don't forget. And I'm like, oh, good point. So take the thought out of it, put it into something and let it tell you what to do.
So guys, in 180 seconds, Nick just gave you your follow-up plan. If you have a system or you're looking into getting a system, he just told you with specific instructions exactly how to follow up with people. So if you walk away from this webinar, you didn't get anything, at least get that, right? You have a follow-up plan now.
And
so,
I'll give you one. I'll give you one more follow-up plan because I think it's important.
Yeah.
So that's anybody that has any interest in buying or selling the next 2 years. But what about the person who settled on their property today? So what we have is we have a closed buyer campaign, and basically what we do is it says we call them on the first Monday and ask, how was the weekend? How was your move? Then we call them 1 week after settlement and just check in. Hey, do you need anything? How's everything going? Really excited for you. Then we call them 2 weeks, 1 month, 3 months, and then every 3 months after. So as soon as you settle on a property, you should be contacting them 3 or 4 times in that next 30 days, maybe 45 days, because you want to show them that you still care, that you're still there. And they're also telling all their friends, I just bought a house. And guess what our friend's going to ask? Who did you use for that? Oh, Nick. He actually just called me yesterday and checked in. Great guy. You should call him. So for that first month, you need to have a plan that's dedicated to make sure you're following up. And then after that, once a quarter, all year long, 4 times a year, I make a phone call to Randy and I say, hey, Randy, just checking in. How are things? Love to catch up, blah, 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 whatever. Talk about whatever, and then move on. I'll call him again in 90 days.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And during that first month, the first 30 days you mentioned, it is not bad practice to actively ask for a referral in that moment, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%. In fact, we have something called a promise script where we actually, every single client, we sit down with them and, okay, Randy, now that I kind of understand what you're looking for in a house and I can put my systems to work and start working for you, can I ask a favor of you?
Absolutely, Nick.
Okay, great. So, my job and my goal in my company is to give you what we like to call level 10 service. We want to make sure this experience is as good as it can be. And we're going to do everything in our power in order to give you that service and earn your respect. Does that make sense? So
Absolutely, of course.
The only way that we know that we did a good job is if I do my job so well that sometime between now and the date of settlement, you're going to think of or meet somebody else who's looking to buy or sell real estate. And you're going to think, I need to pass this name along to Nick because his team is great. Now, if we get to settlement and we haven't been in touch with, someone that I can help in real estate, I'm going to have to assume that my team and myself dropped the ball somewhere. We didn't follow up with our service promise. So I'm going to want to talk to you about it and figure out what we can do so we can always get better and we can learn from any mistakes we might have made. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, absolutely. Totally
Okay,
fair.
perfect. So I'm counting on you. I'm counting on that referral, and we're here to give you that level 10 service. Now, at settlement, do you think he wants to have a conversation with me about why we didn't meet our service goal? Or is he like, they did great. Who the hell am I going to give him? Okay, here. Talk to my sister-in-law.
Exactly. They just got their new house. They got it for a great price because you're a great negotiator, and they're as happy as they will be, right? So, yep. Super important. So let's see. We talked about your follow-up plan for people who plan on buying within 2 years. We talked about your script of people who might be 2 years or later. Let's talk a little bit about your team at this point, right? So you're a team leader, and you say you still produce. You're still in real estate.
Yep.
Exactly. So talk about some training methods you've used with your agents, right? Ultimately, I doubt every one of your agents are as outgoing as you are, right? So what are some of the training tips or strategies that people on the call today can either implement for themselves or for their team?
Yeah, absolutely. So, the one thing we did every morning at 8:30, we have script practice. So whether we're talking about things that we need to know about the market stats, being able to, you should be able to say how many homes went under contract in the last 7 days, how many new listings came on the market, how many homes needed a price reduction, how much inventory is there. Like, you should know all these numbers. And the only way to do that is to look every single week so that you're prepared to use those in conversation. Then you need to practice those conversations to make sure that you have that down. And then look for objections that you're getting. So in real estate, there's not that many objections. And if you talk to enough people, you'll get all of them. So every time we get an objection that we don't know what to say, or we hang up the phone and go, God, that was a terrible answer, we write that down, and then we practice the next 2 or 3 days on that particular objection and how to overcome it. That's every morning at 8:30. At noon, we have a different training every day. Monday's our team meeting. Tuesday, we have a call with a bunch of top agents all over the country. I bring on 2 or 3 agents, and we talk about what they're doing in their business. From one guy who's selling, he's got 39 new construction deals already in contract for the year. We got another girl who sold 105 listings last year. Like, we bring on some big names, big producers, not big names, I have to take that back, big producers, and the people that are doing it right now well. And we go over that. Wednesdays, we might be training on one of our systems, DocuSign. We just moved from Dotloop to DocuSign, so we're training on that right now. Thursdays, like right now, we're doing a new construction series, which is, if you have a client who says, hey, I really want to build a custom home, what does that entail? So when you find the land and get permitting and make sure there's a well and all that stuff, if you learn it now, the second you hear that and somebody says, oh yeah, my husband and I's dream is to build a new house, a custom home. Instead of being nervous because you've never done that, you've practiced it and you jump right in and go, oh, did you know that, 50 or 45% of the cost of that, the total cost of that home is going to go into the land and site work. It's not even part of the house. And they're going to be like, really? And now all of a sudden you're being able to give them value and help walking through that. So we do that training every day at noon. And then at 4:30, we come back that's kind of the end of our day. Cause in the evenings we have showings or family time or whatever. So at 4:30, we come back and say, all right, Randy, what was your goal for the day? And he had told us at 8:30, I want to call 25 people. I want to do, 10 Facebook messages, and I want to host one virtual open house. So at 4:30 every day, we all get on the phone. I say, hey, how'd you do? And he says, oh man, I killed it. I actually called 30 people. I got 2 good leads that I put into Chime, and I set up campaigns for them, which means they're probably buying or selling in the next 12 to 24 months. And then I got all my Facebook messages. I really didn't get much of a response, but I did get a response from somebody from yesterday. I did not get to host my open house, and say, oh, what happened? I just ran out of time. I need to focus more on blah, 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 blah. And I say, okay, awesome. Who else? And we go to the next person, next person, next person. And anybody get an objection that they didn't know what to say? Anybody have a big success they want to talk about? Yeah, I got this guy on the phone. We went out, saw 3 houses. We're under contract on a $700,000 house. That's awesome. I want the team to hear what's going on in the world, because there's a lot of agents right now that are like, yeah, real estate's dead, COVID-19, blah, 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 blah. They're not walking around saying, hey, our April is bigger than last year. Our May is bigger than last year. Our June is bigger than last year. So I think having those conversations every single day to remind every agent on my team that, hey, business is still there if you want it. One last stat that I'll give you on this topic. The biggest recession in real estate we've ever seen was around 2008. Depending on where you're in the country, 7, 8, 9, something like that. That was the worst time. But on average, we sell about 5.6 million homes a year, give or take. So that's the average all the way going through. Now, in 2008, which was the lowest amount sold, we still sold 4.2 million homes, which means everybody who had a bad year in 2008 and blamed it on the market, oh, the market was down 20%, so I was down 30% or 40% or 20, whatever it was. I think you're wrong to think that way. In 2008, my business went up. I was doing more business than I was in 7, 6, and 5, and those were huge years. And the reason is because I focused and I stayed in my zone when everybody else uses the excuse, well, with the market down, there just isn't that much business. If you say it, you believe it. So you've got to stay focused and keep pushing, even when other people. Christmas is the same thing. Right around the holidays, Thanksgiving to Christmas, I can't tell you how many people tell me, oh yeah, I don't do much during that time because it's pretty slow in real estate. And I'm like, really? Because we sold 34 homes in the month of December, and we have 22 listings coming on in January, and it's all people we talk to in that holiday period. So just because other agents aren't doing it, you should keep going. You should keep pushing.
I love that. And from what you're telling me, I can sense that you have a great team culture, right? And so I want to address the question that we got on the topic of teams. Explain why or how you picked a team based off of talent versus headcount.
Yeah, so here's my simple idea of what I'm looking for in an agent when I'm bringing somebody on. I want somebody with grit. If you've ever read the book and you understand the value of grit, that's all it takes. In real estate, there's 2 things. There's will and there's skill. I am confident I can teach you the skills to be successful in real estate. I am, however, not your motivational speaker who's going to give you the will to do it. So you give me somebody, if we have activities and I say you need to, make 100 calls on the dialer every day. You give me anybody who will hit that 100 or more every single day. That's somebody I want in my team. Whether they're succeeding at a high level or not, doesn't matter. The fact that they're willing to do it tells me, great, I want to invest my time to increase their skill because I already know they have the will. When you're with top performers on your team, so if you have amazing, great, talented agents and you bring on people that are subpar, it's all going to be about their effort. If they don't put in effort and they're not trying and they're not pushing themselves and they're leaving the office early and they're whining about this or not, that's going to pull down your culture, and your top agents are going to go, look, I don't want to be around them. Then you got somebody else who comes in who busts their ass they do 120 calls every single day and they are working like crazy and they're not that successful, every agent on my team will be like, hey, come here. Let me show you what I'm doing. Hey, listen, I just heard you on that last call. Have you ever tried doing this? Like all of a sudden you want to help that person. So look for the people that have the will and then teach them the skill.
That's great. And so let's kind of meld these two conversations between referrals and onboarding your team members, right? How do you take someone who doesn't have a background in real estate, and what plan do you give them to make the most of their referral network?
Yes, love that. So the plan that we use is called the 5-5-5 plan. And it basically works like this. Every single person that's in your network, when you first start off, you're looking for anybody that you have that knows, likes, and trusts you. As you get into the business, you're really looking for people who know, like, and trust you in real estate. They've worked with you. So we're talking about past clients. Brand new agents, I don't have any past clients. Great. Just get anybody who knows, likes, and trusts you personally. You're gonna have to get through the business side of it. Agents that have been in the business for a while, you're looking for people that are your past clients or that have referred you business. Maybe they haven't even done business with you, but they've referred you business, which means they trust you in a real estate business capacity. So put those people on there. The goal is to get 325 names in there. And then January 1st, or it wouldn't even matter, May 21st, whatever day you start, you call 5 new people and have a conversation. And then you set up a reminder that in 30 days, I'm going to reach back out to those people. Day 2, you call 5. Day 3, you call 5. Who do you call? I don't care. Take that list of 325 and just call until 5 people answer, and then cross those 5 off the list because you've already talked to them, and put them on a 30-day reminder. And you do that for the entire first month, five conversations at 5 minutes apiece. We're talking about 25 minutes is what it's going to take you month 1. Now, month 2, you're going to continue calling 5 people from that list of 325 that you haven't spoken to yet. On top of that, you're now going to go back to the 5 people you talked to last month on that day, and you're going to reach out to them on social media, whether it's Instagram or Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook, whatever their method of choice is. You're going to reach out and say, hey, Randy, I saw that you got a new puppy. It's adorable. Hope things are going well. Talk to you soon. Whatever. I'm planning myself in his mind. So I talked to him last month. Now I'm connecting on social media. I'll set another 30-day reminder. And then for that whole second month, I'm doing the same thing. 5 new people, 5 social media touches to the people from last month. By the 3rd month, I've got 5 new as well. Then I've got 5 people to social media from last month. And then I've got 5 people from 2 months ago that I need to send a text to and just say, hey, Randy, was in your neighborhood showing some homes. Hope you're doing well. Talk soon. Whatever it says. At the end of 3 months, it all starts over. And now I'm calling it. So now what will happen is over the course of the year, you're going to call everybody in your database 4 times. You're going to connect with them on social media 4 times. And you're going to send them a text or a handwritten note 4 times. Over the course of a year, that's 12 personal touches to keep you top of mind. So when somebody mentions real estate in their world, they think, oh, Randy just called me. Hey, you should call my guy Randy. He's great. You stay top of mind. That's the key to all this. Now, we have another system that we use, which is our referral gifts. So I've used winecountrysomething.com, and we've used, different cookies and chocolates and all this. But what I found recently, there's a system that I use that is absolutely the best because it's the cheapest, the quality is good, and
here it is.
I happen to have one right here. And they happen to you can put your logo, you can put all your information on it, and you can send them something like, we say like, hey, thanks again for introducing us to John and Carol. You're making Home Sweet Home a little sweeter. And we wanted to give you these brownies or this popcorn or whatever. And it's a quick method of, that popcorn's $7 or $6 or something. 2 brownies. Like, you send this stuff and it hits their mailbox and they open it up and they're like, oh man, that's really cool. And it's got your logo on it. It's personalized from you. It looks like you just spent an hour packing it all up and sending it to them, and you didn't do any of that. So you've got to get systems where you're thanking people and you're creating a referral process. So if I get a referral in our system, we can press one button. It sends a thank you card that goes out immediately before we talk to the client, whether we know it's a rich client, poor client, good credit, bad credit, doesn't matter. We're rewarding the behavior. Then we turn around, and as soon as we meet with that client, listing agreement, buyer agreement, whatever it is, we send them the 2 brownies and a bag of popcorn. Hey, thanks again, blah, blah, blah. So that's the second touch. And then when they settle on their property, we go back to the person who referred them and we send them another gift. And it could be, a photo album. There's a bunch of different stuff on our system that you can choose from. And all the campaigns are set up so I can literally hit one button, all of it packs up, ships, and is done. And it's a very, very affordable price. So that system has been, you've got to send things of value. And I think all the little trinkets that we get is kind of junk. People like brownies, cakes, cookies, stuff like that. They've got golf balls that you can put on there. I'm not lost. I'm just hiding from Randy. You can put your logo on the golf ball. There's some pretty fun stuff in that system. And we've been doing that for a couple months now, and that's been awesome.
That's fantastic. So to recap, every quarter you are engaging with someone via phone conversation, social media touch, and text.
Yep.
Right. So every 3 months, phone call, social media, text, and then you are scaling that to a database of 325 plus.
Yep,
right.
Exactly.
Whatever your database may happen to be. Right. That's awesome. That's great. I mean, there it is, guys. There is another system right from the mouth of Nick Walder, right? There's no excuse not to walk away and implement something today.
Yeah. And if anybody's interested in sending treats or anything like that, shoot me an email and I'll introduce you to the company. It's something to develop in your system, but it's not for everybody. It's for if you're developing a system where you want to reward the referral over and over and over again, it's a great system.
Would you mind throwing your email in the chat real quick for people?
Yeah. In fact, if you look at my face down at the bottom, info@waldnerwinnersteam.com, I got you covered.
Oh, there it is. Wow. Wow. That's
so
beautiful.
Also, if you send me an email, I'll also send you our 555 plan so that you can see, I've actually broken it down and written it all out. I mean, I know this was a 3 or 4 minute conversation about it, but I've got it all broken down as well. I can email you that as well so you can see it all and you can go and start using it immediately.
That's awesome. Wow, that's really helpful. Thank you for that. So let's talk. I referenced ice cream events earlier. I know you're an ice cream guy. Talk to us a little bit about some of your past client events and how you keep those budget friendly, because I know you are budget conscious.
Yes, very budget conscious, which is why I love that thing. But anyway, so what I realized was if I call Randy after he buys his house and I say, how are things? How's the house? How's your family? He's like, oh, good, good, good. Glad you touched in. And then I call him 3 months later and I say, hey, Randy, how's your house? How's your wife? How's your family? And he's like, it's good, Nick. And then I call him again in 3 months and say, hey, how's your house? And he's like, oh my God, this guy's annoying, right? And you lose that ability to call and they're not going to want to pick up. So what we did is we decided, okay, what can we call and do for them or give them that has value so that when the phone rings and they look down and see my number and caller ID, they're like, oh, I wonder what this is. Let me answer. So we developed 4 appreciation parties. We used to call them client appreciation parties. Now they're just appreciation parties because you don't have to be a client to be invited. We also invite anybody that's ever referred us business. So in our database of anybody that sent us a referral, we make sure they get invited as well. And what happens is like the one your reference is we have a creamery down the street. And I mean, we're talking like big farm, cows, all that stuff. They milk the cows right on the property. they turn that into whatever they did, and they make ice cream all right there, and it's delicious. So we went and I talked to the owner, and I said, hey, we'd like to have an event here. And here's my vision. I want to put up a bouncy house for the kids. We want to have a live band over here. We want to have a couple of, games that people can play. And then I would like to get a tour of the farm, see the cows, with the little baby cow that was just born last week. We walk over and look at them. And then we go inside and they give us like a 10-minute tour of how to make ice cream. And then at the end, we all come out and we've got all you can eat ice cream and cookies, and everybody's hanging out, and it's a nice sunny day, and it's awesome. It's awesome. And the whole thing is like $4.30 a person. So what happens is I can get a lot of value, going to this farm and having people. And what happens, I call Randy and I say, hey, Randy, we're doing this thing, it's cows and ice cream and blah, 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 blah. And let's say, what are the answers that he's going to give me? Wow, I would love to. Let me check with the family. Oh man, we're actually on summer vacation that week. We're not going to be able to make it. Oh, we have soccer practice. I'm really sorry. Oh, I hate missing that. Oh, I'm going to be traveling for work that week. Whatever it is, you have to realize that probably 1 in 10, maybe 2 in 10 are going to go, yeah, that date works for me. I mean, if you wanted to go to dinner with my wife and I pre-COVID, you'd have to ask her like a month in advance because she's got this whole strategic calendar. So I get the credit for inviting him to something really cool, regardless of whether he comes or not, regardless of whether he can make it. So you want to put something in your business. I don't care if you get a grill and some hamburgers and hot dogs and you go out into a local park and you invite everybody there for 2 hours. Or, we rented a roller skating rink. It's $300 to rent the entire rink for an hour. And then it's $2 per roller skate. Okay, awesome. So then we close down the whole place. We bring our crew in and we invite all of our past clients, and a bunch come. So we've got another one with a pumpkin patch in October. People want their Uggs and their spiced lattes, and they come and they get a pumpkin and they love all that. And that's like $7 a person. So we're not talking about massive amount of money. And you've got to remember, even if I invite 1,000 people, only 100, 150 are going to show up. So I'm still not spending that much. And I've contacted 1,000 people that I was able to have a conversation and invite them to something cool. So part of the 555 program is like, this is like 2.0. So you've got the 555 program, then you get the referral packages and make sure you're sending them things and rewarding that behavior. Then you start inviting them to events that you're holding, and you hold the same event every single year. So it's not like it's that much planning. Once you plan it once, and you just repeat it every single year, and you look for little ways to tweak it, life becomes very easy, and you get most of your business just off of referrals and repeats from your clients.
That's awesome. That's great. So let's talk about how there are people who do something like that, or they are active. They're not a secret agent per se, but their actions or their activity is not translating into sales, not translating into inquiries, right? So where are those people going wrong? How do you bridge the gap between being active and actually getting the business?
Yeah, great question. So it comes down to contacts. Real estate is a contact sport. If I talk to 5 people, what are my chances one of them wants to buy or sell? What if I talk to 100 people? What are the chances one of them wants to buy or sell? So it's a contact sport. If you're making 10 calls a day and can't figure out why you're not busy, make 100 and then see what happens. What'll happen is you'll get so busy that you can't make 100 every day, and you have to scale that back to 30 or 40, but you'll continue being busy because you're making those 30 or 40 calls. What we tend to do, or what most agents tend to do, is they don't have any business. So they call, and they talk to a ton of people that want to buy or sell real estate. And they're like, oh my God, I'm super busy. They stop calling, and then they start showing properties and putting things under contract and settling properties. And all of a sudden they look down, they're like, oh God, I don't have any business in the next 90 days. And they start calling. And about a month later, they get business again. and they ride these waves of, I'll sell 3 houses this month, 0 this month, 2 houses this month, 0 this month. Where if you do the same activities and you keep your contact count up, you could be doing 3 or 4 every single month for the entire year. So it really
and so the strategy there is time blocking and making sure that you're not too busy to do that. Is that what it is?
Yeah, and picking that time that works for you. So for me, like I'm a crazy person. I'm up at 5 a.m. every day. I go do some journaling, some meditation. I go and work out. I come back. I have my first, breakfast of the day with protein shake. Then I shower, shave, and put on a collared shirt every day. Now, I'm not talking pre-COVID. I'm talking this entire time. I get up at 5 a.m. every single day, regardless. I'm not even leaving the house. I do all the same things. I follow my exact same plan. But instead of getting in my car at 7:30, 7:45 to drive to my office, I walk in that door around 7:30, 7:45, and I start my day. And then I'm in here working most of the days. And sometimes I get loud, and then my wife comes in and says, "You're being too loud, the baby's sleeping," or something like that. But I'm in here the entire time. I'm not going anywhere. And then I walk out for lunch, come back, I walk out for dinner, and then I have some family time. But my schedule has dictated that, because if you have a schedule that you have things in each time in the time slots, you're not going to be able to say, "Oh yeah, I haven't made any calls today." No, your calls were in your schedule. You either didn't do them or you're doing them, at the appropriate time. So that schedule is probably the most important thing. And what you do before 8 a.m. that'll tell me whether you're going to be successful at a high level or not. Because everybody that I know that is a high producer is also an early riser. And everybody groaning right now, I wasn't either at first, but I would get up at 7:30 every morning, and then I set the alarm for 7:15. I did that for 2 weeks, and I set it for 7, and then 15 and 15 and 15. And then the hour changeover, and I got lucky and I got an extra hour that way. And I got myself down to between 4:45 and 5 every morning, where at this point in my life, like my alarm is usually the second thing that like I usually wake up, look around, and then look over, and my clock says like 4:52. And I'm like, well, time to get up, because my alarm's going to go off in 8 minutes. And I get up and I go. So I know that sounds crazy. It's not for everybody, but I'm telling you, there's a lot to do with your success level by your schedule and what you do. And if I'm that crazy about my morning schedule, imagine what my daily schedule looks like in real estate.
So create a schedule and honor your schedule, right? We can all fill our schedules. I can put stuff all throughout my schedule, but when it's on there, you're committed to it, right? So be disciplined in your schedule.
And don't make the rookie mistake of trying to fill out every single half hour and have it completely filled out. You will not succeed. We're looking for 3 to 5 hours of the day that are locked down that you're going to be working, and the rest is open for fires and problems and everything else. So if I know from 8:30 a.m. till 10:30 a.m. I'm lead generating, then I also know that every fire that comes up, every home inspection request for repair, everything that happens, I can handle that at 10:30, 11, 11:30. I don't have to do it during my lead generation time. So don't try to fill your entire schedule. Get the most important things in the schedule, and then the rest of your schedule will fill up with all the crap that we do every day.
That's awesome. Nick, you've been awesome. We've got about 5 minutes left. If anyone has any questions, or Nick, if you have any parting comments, I'm going to leave it open to y'all. Let's see, another question came in.
Yeah, what do you got?
What time do you go to bed? You wake up at 5, when are you going to bed?
My wife and I just got in a fight about that last night. I say a fight, I mean, you know what I mean. If you're married, you know what I mean. The other night, 2 nights ago, it was like 10:20. I know it doesn't sound that late, but I'm old. It was like 10:20, and we're laying in bed, and we had just gotten into bed, and she's like talking about this and what's our plan here. And I like looked over, and now it's like 10:37, and I'm like, stop talking to me. Like, we cannot talk past 10 o'clock. I've got to get sleep. You know I get up at 5 a.m. I am yours from 7 p.m. till 10 p.m. every single night, whatever you want to do. But at 10 p.m., I've got to shut off. And she laughed because, you know, we had spent the previous hour and a half watching some dumb show on TV. So it was like, if there was communication that really needed to happen, we had all the time in the world to do it. And she was just chit-chatting in the middle of the night. So 10 o'clock on the dot. I'd like to be in bed earlier, but that's probably the average, 10 o'clock.
10 to 5. Not a bad sleep schedule. It's not a bad
7 hours, yeah.
There it is. All right. Any other questions here? Or we're going to let Nick give us some parting words, and then we're going to get out early.
So here's my parting words for you guys. Develop a system around what you're trying to do. The reason the 5-5-5 method works is because I don't have to think about it. I open up Chime in the morning and it tells me, call these 5 people, social media touch these 5, and text these 5. There's no thinking involved. There's no questions involved. When I look at my referral program, the second somebody gives me a referral, I know to go into my system and boom, I want to send them a card, and it'll automatically send them the brownies. It'll automatically send them the gift. All that stuff's done for me. When it's time for client appreciation parties, it's already planned and done. We pick the dates a year in advance. There's nothing for me to think about. That we're going on that date. We already know it, so I better invite people. So everything that you do in this business, create a system around it where you're not making a decision. So if you've ever read Atomic Habits, one of the things they talk about is how many people floss every single day. Now, I'll be the first to admit it. I did not floss every single day before reading that book. And I would go to the dentist and my dentist would say, when's the last time you flossed? And it was always the same answer, this morning, because I would do it like the day of my dentist appointment. So then I realized, like, okay, so I read this book and it said the number one reason that we don't do it is because it takes too much thinking. I'm like, what does that mean? You walk up to your bathroom, your toothbrush and your toothpaste are right there. You pick them up and you brush your teeth. You don't even think about it. If I wanted to floss, I'd have to open the drawer. I'd have to find that little square thingy. I'd have to pull out the perfect amount. I'd wrap it around my fingers, and then I could begin my flossing and all that stuff, okay? All those little nope, I'm not doing it. So I walk up, I brush my teeth, and I move on. So what they suggest is, you know, those little, like those little one-time use picks that have the string already in there and all that. I set one of those on my electric toothbrush or as soon as I'm done brushing my teeth, I put one on there. I go to bed. The next morning when I wake up, the first thing I see is that little pick. I don't even think about it. I pick it up, I floss my teeth, I throw it away, I put a new one out there, and then I brush my teeth. And it's like clockwork because I'm not thinking about it anymore. It's just, so stop trying to do everything by remembering or by, you know, sheer will. Set up a system that you don't have to think about it. That's the greatest thing about Chime is you can set up reminders where you can stop thinking. You can let that system help you grow your business.
That's awesome. Yep, take the guesswork out of it. Have systems, take the guesswork out of it. Thanks, Nick. I really appreciate your time this afternoon. So many valuable tidbits here. This is going to be recorded. You can find this also on my Facebook page. Ultimately, thank you all again. And Nick, keep crushing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, that's my email address. Send me something if you want the 555 or you want the referral program, any of that stuff.
Awesome.
All right. See you guys.
Y'all take care. Bye-bye.